Hello, let's move ahead in this part with the story of Lencho the farmer. We had already done how the hailstone or the hailstorm it destroyed the field of Lencho and he was in a sorrowful condition. But now in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope. And what was this hope that all these family members had was that there is God who will come and help them. Don't be so upset. Upset, that is, don't be so worried or unhappy. Even though this seems like a total destruction or loss, remember, no one on this earth dies due to hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. Next, all through the night, that is, all during that night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, that is, the help of God, whose eyes, that is, God's eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. That is, conscience means an inner sense of right and wrong. So, all through the night, Lencho was only thinking about the hope, and that hope was God. And he knew that God is seeing everything was happening with him. So he knew that God will send some help for him. Now Lencho was an ox of a man, that is a very strong man, doing hard work. And he used to work like an animal in the fields, that is day and night he used to work hard for his family. But still he knew how to write. So the next Sunday or the following Sunday, in the morning, that is at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to the town and place in the mail. So he decided, let me write now a letter to God. So let's see what is he going to write in his letter addressed to God. And this was nothing less than a letter to God. That is, we are going to see in the next slide what is related to that letter. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. That is, we are going to live in a very poor condition. He wanted God's support so that his family would not go hungry that year. Further, he wrote that I need 100 pesos. Pesos is a currency of several Latin American countries we did earlier. So he asked 100 pesos from God in order to sow his field again. To sow means when we scatter seeds on the ground to grow plants. That is called as sowing. So I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstorm ... That is, he continued with his story addressing to God. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still upset, that is troubled or worried, he went to the town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped that letter in the mailbox. One of the employees, that is, one of the person working at the post office, and he was a postman and also helped at the post office. This employee went to his boss laughing heartily, that is laughing loudly, and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career, that is in his long years of work as a postman at the post office, never in his career as a postman had he known that address. That is, in this many years of his job, this postman never ever had seen anybody writing an address as to God. The postmaster was a fat, amiable fellow. And amiable means very friendly fellow. He also broke out laughing. Let me make it very clear. Who was the man who brought the letter was an employee, that is, he was a postman. And he brought this letter to whom? That is, to the postmaster. who was a fat and friendly fellow. He also started laughing loudly. But almost immediately, he turned serious. That is, he became serious. That is, he stopped laughing. And tapping the letter on his desk, he commented. Tapping means when we hit something very lightly and quickly. So he started tapping that letter on the desk and said, "My God, what faith!" What faith means when you are surprised, because nobody writes a letter to God. And when somebody writes a letter to God, it means that person has great faith in God. So he was surprised at it. He continued, "I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter." That is, the postmaster is saying that I wish if I could also have so much faith in God like this man who wrote this letter to God. Further, the postmaster says that starting up a correspondence with God, that is an exclamation over there, means he was surprised to see or to know how a man could communicate with God. So in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, not to shake somebody's faith means let the person continue to have his faith in God. So in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with a very innovative idea. Answer the letter. That is, let's answer the letter of this man. Now when he opened it, it was very clear or obvious, or you can say it was evident, that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. Now what do you mean by goodwill? Goodwill means a friendly support or a cooperative behavior. So now this postmaster clearly understood that I have not just to write a letter over here as an answer to that man's letter to God, but here I would need something more than goodwill, ink and paper. But he stuck to his resolution. That is, he was very sure that he had to do this work. Resolution we already had done earlier also. It means determination to do something or not to do something. So this postmaster stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees, that is the people working at the post office. He himself also gave a part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged, means grateful, to give something as an act of charity. That is, charity means when you voluntarily give your support to someone. It could be in the form of money, it could be in the form of food, it could be in the form of action. But charity means voluntary support. So not only he gave some part of his salary, but the employees and his several friends also became a part of this act of charity. Next. It was impossible for him to gather. Together. Now here, to gather, that is to collect. So that they are two separate words. Whereas together, see the pronunciation once again. To gather, together. So together, that is to collect. Together, that is one word. It means with someone. So it was impossible for the postmaster to collect together the 100 pesos because it was a big amount that Lencho had asked from God. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. Now 100 pesos, 50% is 50 pesos. So he was able to collect maybe a bit more than 50 pesos. He put the money in an envelope, addressed it to Lencho, and with a letter containing only a single word as a signature, and that's God. As I told you before, that I gave you a bit of support in a previous comprehension check. You try this 3 on your own, and later on the answers will be given to you. Let's move on ahead. Now the next Sunday, that is following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter, that is, gave the letter to Lencho, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment, I have shown you over there, contentment means satisfaction, of a man who has performed a good act, that is, deed, looked on from his office. Now, next Sunday, when Lencho came to the post office to get the answer from God, this shows a great faith man could have on God. So that's why the next Sunday, Lencho returned to post office to get the money as a form of answer from God. Now this time the postman handed him the letter, whereas the postmaster was very satisfied because he thought that he had performed a good act and he was looking what was happening from his office. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. This shows his great faith. He knew that he was going to get the money from God, so he was not at all surprised. Such was his confidence, that is, feeling of having faith. But suddenly there was a twist in this story. He became angry when he started counting the money. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lencho what he had requested. Denied means refused. Now why he became angry? Because when he started counting the money, he saw that he had asked for 100 pesos, but he got only a bit more than 50 pesos. So he thought that God could never make a mistake, and nor could God have refused him in giving his 100 pesos. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started writing one more letter to God. With much wrinkling of his brow, as shown over here. Wrinkling of the brow means raising eyebrows, showing some surprise or confusion, like all of a sudden, for example, say that you must have not worked hard in your test and you get super duper marks. There you will raise your eyebrows showing some surprise. So that's called wrinkling of his brow. Or it could be the other way, that worked hard but got less marks. That also, there will be an expression of surprise. There would be wrinkling of your brow. The same manner, here, with much wrinkling of his brow, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. Here his brow were wrinkled because he was making a great effort to express his ideas in the letter that he was writing to God. Now this was a second letter that he was writing to God. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he lit and then affixed. Affix means to stick or to attach to the envelope with a blow of his fist. Now the moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. He couldn't wait to read what Lencho had written in the letter. And this letter said, God, of the money that I had asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks, that is, not good people. You can use the word villain. Like in a Hindi movie, you see vamp and villain and all. So here, he told God that please don't send my remaining amount of the money through this medium, because the postman, postmaster, or the employees at the post office are not good people. So it was a humorous ending. But let's see ahead. What does the comprehension check tells us? Was Lencho surprised to find a letter for him with money in it? No. Now, why he was not surprised? As I told you before, this man had such a great faith in God that he knew that God was going to send him the money that he had asked for. So he was not surprised as he had faith in God. He knew that God is surely going to help him. Second question, what made him angry? When Lencho found less money in envelope than what he had asked for from God, he was angry. I think you all have enjoyed this story of this farmer, Lencho, and his great faith in God. Let us too try at least to create faith in God related to the present situation and ask for the normal situation that the world enters into very soon. Thank you so much. Good day. See you very soon in the next lecture of English.